Let them all in. Hi, everybody who's joining us. Welcome, welcome. Hi, everyone. Nice to see your faces. Welcome. I'm Cecily Upton with Charlie Cart Project. We have Sarah Anderson from Oldways and our special guest, chef educator Liesha. So we're going to be waiting just a couple more minutes to see if anyone else joins us, and then we'll jump in. So just hold tight. We are going to do a tiny bit of icebreaker poll at some point. So stay near your computers, and we'll do a little bit of overview, and then we'll get into the cooking demonstration. We'll wait one more minute. And this is being recorded, so we'll be able to post it and share out to everyone as well. All right. More people joining. All right, well, let's get started. Hi, everyone. As I mentioned, my name is Cecily Upton. I'm the Director of Impact with Charlie Cart Project. I'm going to ask everyone to stay on mute just as a housekeeping for the beginning part of our conversation. We're going to have some time for discussion and questions at the end, but just so we can keep the webinar and the video on Liesha when she's doing her demonstration. But if I could just have Sarah and Liesha introduce themselves really quickly, and then we'll get into our webinar.
Sure. Hi there. My name is Sarah. I'm the Heritage Science Curriculum Manager through Oldways nonprofit. I'm super excited to be here and nice to meet you all.
And hello, everybody. I am Liesha McKinley Barnett, and I am a culinary educator, and I have worked with Charlie Cart and Always for several years now. So it's good to see y'all.
Yeah, great. All right. Thanks, everyone. I'm going to share my screen now. We're going to do a little bit of presentation just to give some background on each of our organizations. We have folks joining us from both Charlie Cart Project and Oldways, and other folks who are not formally affiliated with either organization, but fans. So we'll give a little background on both the organizations and our partnership, and then we'll get into I was going to say the meat of the matter, but it's actually beans and vegetables today. So we'll get into that. All right. So here is our screen. We'll get this in presenter mode. And here we go. All right. So today we will be doing a little bit of introduction to both of the organizations, as I mentioned, to the Charlie Cart Project, to Oldways, talk a bit about the partnership, and then we'll get right into the cooking demo. And then afterwards, we'll have some time for questions and discussion. We are, as the presenters, we're able to stay on for a few minutes after the end of the formal end of the call if the discussion goes over, but we recognize we only booked the presentation from 3 to 4. So if you need to hop off at any point, that's totally fine. But we are available for longer discussion if we need it. And then just as I mentioned, the call is being recorded. So we will make this available on our member resources page for Charlie Cart and on our Vimeo channel if you want to watch it later or share it with any of your colleagues or friends. All right. So before we get started, though, we are going to do a poll. We're going to see here, if you could only choose one cooking gadget for life, what would you choose? And I'm going to try to get the poll here on the screen. Are you all seeing this?
Yep, I can see it.
Vote away. You've got 30 seconds to get your answers in. This is very controversial. We'll get a real sense of who we have here in the audience. All right. Ooh,
It's like good.
It's gonna win.
It's fun to watch it in real
I
time.
don't know how long, but I think everybody's voted. All right. Instant Pot edging out air fryer slightly in our poll today. We'll Probably we'll save some discussion time for that at the end to hear why people would choose just one. I'm an Instant Pot person myself, but I don't think I've experienced enough air fryer delicacies to formally be able to vote super well, but that's where I'd go to start. All right. Thank you all for participating in that. All right. Let's get back to here. All right, so I'm going to tell you a little bit about the Charlie Cart for folks who are not familiar. The Charlie Cart Project is a fully integrated mobile nonprofit organization. We have been operating for about 10 years, and our primary objective is to help kids, but really people of all ages, learn to cook through hands-on food education. At the heart of that is the cart itself, which is an all-in-one mobile cooking program. Liesha will be demonstrating our recipe on the Charlie Cart today. For those of you who have a Charlie Cart, you know about all the awesome appliances that come with it: a Vitamix blender, a Breville oven, a hot pot station, as well as everything you need to get 30 people up and cooking. And the cart also comes with a 60 lesson curriculum that's geared towards ages K through 5, but really can be used with any audience. Our mission is to make hands-on food education accessible everywhere that children gather to learn. So we work with schools, libraries, community organizations, boys and girls clubs, food pantries, food banks, all sorts of organizations, you name it, health clinics. There's probably a Charlie Cart there, and we're really proud of the diversity of our partnerships. We work with organizations in 47 states. So if you have friends in New Hampshire, Nebraska, or Washington, and you'd like to help them get a cart, you could help us get to all 50 states pretty soon. And I think we just placed I know we're over 600. I don't know if we're quite to 650 yet, but about close to that number of carts out in the community over the last 10 years. So we've been growing fast, and we're really excited about all the new partnerships that have come on in the past year. As I mentioned, the Charlie Cart is food education on wheels. So the cart itself has, as I said, everything you need to get about 30 people up and cooking. The curriculum can help guide you if you've never taught a cooking class before. It has all the step-by-step instructions. And really the goal is to lead folks in gaining both knowledge about the food that you're cooking, but also the hands-on skills of how to choose and prepare healthy food. In addition, we also offer support and education for our network members. So we have opportunities like this one today to be able to engage with members directly through webinars and training opportunities. We also have our curriculum and all of our resources completely digitized, available through our member resources hub, which is on our network. And once you become part of the Charlie Cart, on our website. And once you become part of the Charlie Cart network, you have access to that free of charge. So we love hearing from folks about other ways that we can be supportive. And we've got some new ways in which we're partnering with other organizations to bring the Charlie Cart to life and to provide more support and resources to our network members. All right, with that, I'm going to stop sharing, and I'm going to turn it over to Sarah from Oldways to tell us a little bit about their work and organization.
Great. Thanks so much, Cicely. So I'm going to share my screen, and let's get it started here on, let's see, their desktop 2 to share. Yep, and I don't think I need to do the volume, and then let's just do it from, hold on one moment. There we are. Okay, well, perfect. Thanks so much for inviting me today. Super excited about this partnership. My name is Sarah Anderson. I'm the Heritage Strides Curriculum Manager. I work with Oldways, and I focus primarily on our African Heritage and Health program and our Latin American Heritage program, but I really work with all the heritage diets. It's just specifically with those two, we offer a cooking class curricula in which Chef Liesha over there will be cooking a recipe from our African Heritage and Health program, a part of this partnership. So Once again, just saying a little bit about myself. I was raised in Houston, Texas. I attended school out in Boston, and that's how I connected with Oldways. And something that I love about Oldways is that when you're thinking about food and nutrition, you also have that connection to family and heritage. And that's where our heritage diets really shine. And it's really nice too, because not only are you thinking just about the ingredients, but you're also thinking of the landscape and the historic significance behind it. So I'm just going to go a little deep dive into talking about our heritage diet programs, a part of this partnership. And then we'll, be able to talk more about what we have done together with Charlie Kirk. Great. So a little bit about Oldways for those of you who are unfamiliar with us is we're a nonprofit, a 501c3 nonprofit dedicated to improving the public health by inspiring individuals and organizations to embrace the healthy and sustainable joys of old ways eating. So what's nice about our heritage-based diets is not only are they high in taste, nourishment, and sustainability, but also joy. We're most well known for our Mediterranean diet, and that was created in partnership with the Harvard Public School of Health. And we are also a part of the Whole Grains Council. So if you are at the grocery store and you're looking at sorghum, buckwheat, or a whole grains product, probably Skinny Pop sounds familiar, you'll see a little stamp on the package, and we're a part of that council that helps get those approved. We also are, although we're small, we are mighty. So we offer various other things just within the nonprofit. So I'll list out all that we offer as a part of our heritage diets. Not only do we just have our African and our Latin, but we also have the Mediterranean diet, we have our Asian heritage diet, and we have our vegan and vegetarian diet. We also have our travel culinarias. So for those of you who are interested in traveling with Old Ways, we do offer more information on our site where we take you to the farms and you can try the fresh ingredients. And like I said, we're a part of the Whole Grains Council. So when you see those stamps on the packages, we're a part of that. And we're lastly a part of the Cheese Coalition. So we've got a lot going on in store, but it's so much fun. And there's so many free resources that we have available on our website. Now, in particular, what stands out about our heritage diets, this graphic here shows you the pyramids that are affiliated with each of the heritage diets. And what I like about them is that they celebrate the reclaim and often unsung heritage of healthy eating for people of diverse backgrounds. So these heritage diets are not prescriptive, they're descriptive. So the purpose of the heritage diet is not to say that there's only one right way to eat. Rather, the purpose is to celebrate the diversity of the foods and the flavors that lead to good health and well-being. Now, what's so fun about this is that we connected with Charlie Cart, I'd say about a year ago, and we started coming up with a way that we could work together because we have a bunch of like-minded partners and people that we work with within the community. And so we thought, why not do a nice product line or a sample, and what I like to call it is a bite-sized of the heritage diets. And so and you'll see this in connection with the Charlie carts. It's got 12 recipes there, and it's really cool because not only will you see recipes from our African Heritage and Health program, but you'll also see it from the Latin American Heritage program. And so it's just great because this kit provides everything that educators need with the recipes. It's also really great for grade levels K through 5. It's got those seasonal connections when you're thinking about the produce, and it's really just fun whether it's being taught with kids and adults too. And the recipes are also very easy to prepare and are well adapt and capable to be used on a Charlie cart. So, when we're also thinking about our heritage diets and all of our resources that we provide, we're of course, thinking about accessibility. So, what's nice about each of these recipes is that, with the Charlie cart or, with or without it, you just need a hot plate and you don't need a fancy kitchen setup, and I think that's where this partnership really shines. The recipes are, of course, very affordable and accessible, so you won't have to worry about breaking the bank trying to find some of these hard ingredients. They can very much so be accessed and well affordable and sourced within your community. And I think also when you're thinking about that repeated exposure, when you're learning something new, whether you're cooking rice or, baking some beans or preparing a stew, it's when you're doing it over and over again. And I think it's also when you're working with cost-effective ingredients, you feel more you feel more excited and more willing to take that chance and try something new because you're like, all right, these ingredients weren't too costly. And also the fact that I am actively trying out something new, offering it to the family, introducing it, is just that repeated exposure that really makes it sustainable when you're thinking about healthy eating practices to bring into your home, into your life. And I think what's also nice about the heritage diets is that they celebrate heritage, and it's really good way to just connect within your community. Now, what is the African Heritage Diet? So it is within our African Heritage and Health program. The African Heritage Diet is a healthy traditional eating model based on the common threads and foodways of African American ancestors. So, what's cool about this diet is that it recognizes the distinct flavors and traditions of the four major regions of the African diaspora. So, you've got foods and flavors from West and Central Africa, the American South, the Caribbean islands, and South America. And the core of our programs is that we actually offer two full curriculas, one that's called A Taste of African Heritage, and then we also have the children's African Heritage curricula. And I think what's great about this initiative with the Charlie Cart is that you've got a bite-sized sample of that already at your disposal. So you can get started, start cooking the recipes, bringing it out to your community, and then it's really a good way to pilot to see that interest. So if they want to learn more, if they want more ingredients or want to do a whole 6-week class series, we have all of that available on our website too. And what's nice about our African Heritage Program, or the motto that connects with it, is what we like to see is by reclaiming our heritage, we can reclaim our health. And also, I'm not sure if I've already mentioned this before, but I like to repeat it because sometimes you're doing some of those recipes and you don't even realize that you've been cooking 100% plant-based, so you don't see any meat or dairy throughout the curriculum, and we take that into consideration with accessibility in mind, and also for those who have any health restrictions, we want to make it as accessible as possible. And when we're thinking about the old ways of eating, we're thinking about our ancestors. They didn't always have access to meat and, all the products that we have now. So we're really getting to the roots of things, and I think that's what makes it just so sustainable and fun. And when you're looking at that pyramid there, each of the tiers make up a different subject matter as far as the lesson plans from the curriculums. Now, our Latin American Heritage Program. This one is lovely too. So within the program, it is a bilingual. So you'll see it in both English and Spanish translations. It is also plant-based, so you won't see any meat or dairy. And what's great about our heritage diets in general is that they were developed by a committee of chefs, nutrition experts, and public health experts, all those who are of the heritage that are connected with the heritage diet. And so with our Latin heritage, when you go on our website, you could always look it up and see who are the faces and the individuals who came together to develop the program. Now, what's nice about our Latin heritage is that not only are you thinking about the cultural influences that shape Latin American cuisine, but you're also thinking about those regions. So when we are talking about the Latin heritage diet, we're talking about the indigenous people. So you've got the Aztecs, the Incas, the Mayans, and many other Native American groups. You've also got the influence of the Spanish and Portuguese settlers who arrived in the 1500s. And then you've also got the continental Africans that are brought over through the transatlantic slave trade. So those are flavors and ingredients that you were seeing within the curriculum. And when we're talking about regions, we're thinking of Mexico, we're thinking of South America, we're thinking of Central America, we're also thinking of the Caribbean islands. So you're going to see foods, flavors, and all of that and connected with the Latin American heritage diet, which is just such a fun way to bring this curriculum, offer the classes, and start cooking together. And that's our pyramid that you'll see on the right-hand side that just breaks up. And then these are the lesson plans too, if you want to learn more. Now, types of partnerships, when you're looking at this list, these are all the different types of partnerships we work with, but I like to say anyone and everyone under the sun can offer these classes, teach teach the lesson plans, work with the ingredients, bring it to their area. So for those who are working with the Charlie Cart, of course, you've got everything set up. You've got your mobile kitchen there, so you can already get started and bring it into whatever space, whether that's a library, community garden, farms, university schools, nonprofits, SNAP Ed implementing agencies. But these are just some of our different types of partners that we work with. And I think, just coming in with accessibility in mind, that's why it's always so important to, you know, think of the different ways. And we have various ways on our website too, if you want to learn more on, okay, I am through a health clinic. How can we bring something like this over to our facility? We have plenty of tips on our website. Now, I know you are thinking of maybe you're doing the bite size of the curriculum, and so you're with Charlie Carr and you're like, okay, is there any training before I start teaching this series, or how can I get some more background information? We offer free teachers training through our website. And this is what the video on the right hand side is, what the African Heritage training looks like. Essentially, you would watch a 1 hour webinar and then complete a short quiz and then receive a certificate of a completion. We also have one both in English and Spanish for the Latin American Heritage Curriculum too, available through our website, and it's complimentary. And when we're thinking of instructors and what will they gain from this, I think most importantly, you've got community engagement and empowerment. You also get, confidence, leadership skills, food and nutritional training, and I think also helping to shift that narrative of, so and so's food is unhealthy or this is, not good for you. Well, how about we try it? Why don't we try some ingredients and start cooking together and then we can all connect? Well, that's a little bit of my spiel, but thank you so much. And for those who, of course, are at this webinar and connected with Charlie Cart, we offered a special discount code. So we have a self-paced e-course for the African Heritage class series, and it's available on our website. If you type in that code, which is Oldways, and then it's Charlie CCP, Charlie Cart Project, you'll get $5 off that. And if you have any questions, oh, and you could also scan this QR code, and I think Cicely has it later on in the slides for those who want to just see where to find the course, because it'll take you right there to it, and you can add in that code there. And there's my contact information. Therefore, if you have any questions, feel free to reach me, and there's the website. I'm happy to share more insight and more information about the programs that we offer.
Awesome. Thank you, Sarah. We're so excited about this partnership. You can see why Oldways has just such a wealth of resources, experience, and they've done the really hard work of translating some of the incredible heritage ingredients, recipes from all these different cultures into a really approachable framework. So as Sarah mentioned, we are doing a bite-sized version of the much larger Latin American and African heritage diets. We chose 6 recipes from each of those larger curriculums to create this curriculum supplement that has been adapted completely into the Charlie Cart framework. So if you're using your Charlie Cart curriculum, the lessons will look exactly like all the rest of the lessons, just using not only the recipes, but the really rich history and sort of cultural context that Oldways has created. They're still aligned with Common Core and the next generation science standards, and they're available as PDFs on the Member Resources Hub, and they're also integrated into the digital curriculum. So you can find them there and download single lesson and recipe PDFs or the whole group of them. And then with that, I will show this again later so you can see it all. But with that, I'm really excited to turn it over to Liesha. Liesha is what's really special about having her with us today to share this recipe that she'll be working on is that not only does she have a huge background in as a culinary educator, but she's also trained and worked as an educator for both the Charlie Cart Project and Oldways. So she's familiar with both these organizations and how we run. So I'm gonna turn it over to Liesha and just before we kind of get onto her video, we're going to be cooking the black-eyed pea salad today. So again, this full lesson plan is available online. We just put a couple of the objectives here that you would normally see for your students. And so I'm going to stop sharing and turn it over to Liesha.
Thank you, Cecily and Sarah. Hopefully you guys can hear me. My screen is a little bit of a distance away from me. So if you can't, just somebody yell at me.
I think
I'm
you
so excited to be here working with both Oldways and Charlie Cart because they have mentioned I've worked with both organizations for quite a few years, and I can tell you that the curriculum on both sides is really rich, really exciting, and it's a great partnership. I'm really looking forward to seeing kids actually making these new recipes that have been included. And so let's get into it. We're doing a black-eyed pea salad. So we're not really cooking today, but you know, it's still gonna be delicious. One of the best things about this salad is that all of the ingredients are readily available in most areas, in most neighborhoods. I was able to find canned black-eyed peas already done. So you can use a can. And the great thing about that can that I got was a pop top. So we're actually coming farther and farther with accessibility for people. Yay. So we have canned, but you can also use fresh or dried beans. You just have to do a little bit of prep ahead of time. If you are planning on making this recipe pretty often, it might be more cost effective to buy the dry beans because of the fact that they're cheaper and they are shelf stable. You can keep them forever. So yeah, we've got only a few ingredients, which is really another key factor in the Charlie Cart and Oldways curriculum is that you don't need a ton of stuff in order to make something really delicious. And that is an extra step in accessibility because as a chef, I can get a little crazy with the ingredients. And that's not conducive for everybody else. So we've got a very simple vinaigrette that we're going to make, as well as red peppers. Kids love these because they're sweet, and the beans. One thing to note, the actual curriculum has a different step process. The kids make the salad dressing in a mason jar. Well, I broke mine, so we're going to do it the old-fashioned way with a bowl. Okay. So one of the wonderful things about the Charlie Cart curriculum is how they teach the children that there are more than one way to skin a cat, essentially. So we can do the tunnel model where we're cutting something or the saw. I love the fact that that is something that they have included in the curriculum because little hands, even sometimes bigger hands, people get a little nervous with actually working with knives. I cut mine in half and then just pull this out like this so you don't waste anything. We always have a compost bowl on the side too. And we'll just pull all of these out. The good thing about this is if you're integrating this and any of your other recipes with your work and you have a garden, this can become a seed-saving activity later on. So we want to put those all on the side. And if you've ever grown anything, you know that when you put seeds in your compost, things will grow in your compost. So you might want to separate your seeds for that reason as well. So I'm just gonna do a basic dice, a small dice on this. And for the sake of time and setup, I'll tell you, I've got everything else here, all of the seasonings, all of the rest of the ingredients. Charlie Cart, again, great job of laying out what you need, where you need it, and what specifically on different tables. That is super helpful when you've got a ton of little kids that you are trying to instruct. Okay, so chop, chop, chop. If anybody has any questions, I really do think this is a great time to poke them into the chat. I know we got all the folks ready to answer your questions. And since I'm so far from my screen, I can't see anything that you might be saying. So it gets a little quiet on this end. But beans, I love because beans are an amazing source of protein. The discussion about the Instant Pot versus the air fryer, I am team Instant Pot. Why? Because I love beans. I really do. They are high in protein, great in folate. They keep you full for a really long time, which is super important. And again, the price is right, right? We always want to consider the fact that the price is right. As I started to do some research in cultural foods, I learned that just about every culture has their own version of rice and beans. Did y'all know that? Did you know that? I think it would be a great exploration into food of taking a culinary tour with your classes, whether they're for children or adults, and explore the rice versus beans and maybe try a few recipes out. I know Always has quite a few. There is a version of rice that is similar to jollof in the African heritage diet, if I'm not mistaken. Is that right, Sarah?
Yes, well, we actually do have a we have a jollof recipe in the African Heritage curriculum.
Wonderful. And
Yeah.
what I like to think is jollof is a cousin to, let's say, jambalaya or
Mhm.
some of the other things. Now, we're not going to waste these. I'm just putting these to the side for the sake of time. All right, we've got our diced peppers. Now, I have made this salad before as an adult who likes things like onions and things like that. Kids, not so much. So it's really great that we've got just the red peppers in here. I know you might be tempted to go all crazy with different things, but I think for the sake of the class, the kids would appreciate just having the sweet red peppers. The Charlie cart comes with all of this stuff that you see here in front of me. I didn't bring any equipment. This is why I love working with Charlie cart, because I don't need to bring any of my special equipment. They have chosen the best knives, the best tools for kids and adults alike. And it just makes me really excited to use them. So what we would have done is put this inside of the mason jar. When the kids are making this recipe, they will have the vinegar, the honey, put the honey there, the vinegar, the honey, the lime juice, and all the seasonings and the mustard right in here. And they get to shake it up, which is really fun. However, we don't have that mason jar. That's my fault. I was carrying too many things at one time.
And we'll follow up and send a PDF of this recipe to everyone who's joining us on the webinar. And I should also just mention quickly, because Liesha was saying she didn't have to bring anything with her, that we should want to give a big shout out to the Charleston County Public Library System, because Liesha is borrowing a Charlie cart at the North Charleston Public Library right now. So yeah, she really didn't bring anything. We were able to show up and kind of just get rolling today with
Yeah,
our Charlie cart partners there.
I got in the car and went on a road trip and got here and they said, the room is ready for you. How awesome is that? How awesome is that? So again, all of these ingredients, I found at Food Lion, which is not far. If you know anything about food insecurity and the reasons why work that Charlie Carden always is doing is so important. It really is because of I was able to get everything I needed around the corner, like 2 minutes away. And that makes a big difference. We know that having access to fresh ingredients that is affordable and culturally relevant is the backbone of our health. And without it, a lot of people are suffering. So it's really great that the time, the effort, and the energy was put into this particular recipe and others to showcase that. So we're just gonna drizzle this. This is really, I like this recipe for a couple of reasons. Sometimes you have to let things sit for a while for it to taste good. This one you can do right away. And it's great to be paired with other things such as leafy greens. If you wanted to really keep it super easy and simple, a rotisserie chicken, and then you got dinner. You got some greens, you have this salad and a chicken, and you're good to go. I thought I saw some comments in the chat. I don't know.
Yes, someone asked if the beans were pre-cooked or pre-boiled.
So they are canned, so that means they were cooked in the processing of canning, essentially. You can use dry, and there are fresh beans available, but you will have to cook the fresh beans if you have them in your area. It's not very common to find the fresh beans available, but you can see them around the beginning of the year, which is the time that most of us in the culture will be eating our black-eyed peas. It's a ceremonious thing. Okay, I'm gonna taste this real quick so that I can see if I need to adjust the salt and pepper. A little bit more pepper, not salt. The vinegar does a really good job of salting the dish, so you don't really need too much salt at all. And I believe the recipe calls for only like a teaspoon of each salt and pepper anyway. Big flavor, packs a punch.
And in this recipe in particular, and in a couple of the other lesson plans as well, we actually have an extension activity that gets into the difference between dried beans and canned beans and kind of helps kids learn about and experiment with that. So several of the lessons within this series do have a little bit of beyond just learning to make the actual dish, have some ongoing ways that you can connect back and kind of teach additional cooking skills. So that's one that gets into that very question.
Yeah, and I think what's fun too, whenever you're working with, a chef or food enthusiast, is that you can also deviate from the recipe too. I saw that you used 2 limes there instead of one to add a little extra zest. So,
1.5.
mhm.
1.5. But you know what I do is I teach the kids when they're in there, we have all the tables, we get them set up, allowing them to taste and have that process of this is the recipe and starting with that and taste it and say, you can add something, you can change something, you can throw, something extra. So if the budget allows, I would have, let's say, green onions, chives, some fresh herbs, anything that, you can lay out on the side and say, if you're feeling really froggy, go ahead and try this. I think it really speaks to the curiosity that we want to spark in children and, get them more acclimated to different flavors. So yes, it always does depend. That one lime may not have that punch that you need. So you go for the other half and it's right where you're looking for it to be. So this is a beautiful salad. It was actually like super easy to do. If you are teaching this in your class, it gives you so much time and space. Well, not a lot of time because kids. 5-minute recipes will take 20 minutes. 20-minute recipes take an hour. the questions, the comments, the curiosity, the space, the excitement. It's really just great to be in that space to watch the kids get really excited about what it is that they are working on, what they're making, what they're doing, and asking questions. Within the curriculum, the lesson talks about the Gullah Geechee people who here, I'm in North Charleston, they have their own language, their own communities, everything. So it's really important for children of all backgrounds and cultures to know that there are these other communities that exist and really begin to have an appreciation for the food. I'm excited for the Latin curriculum for, those recipes as well too. Does anybody have any other questions? I can bring out some stuff out of the cart to show you too. Or I don't know, let's see. The cart is equipped with everything you need. I've said that to so many people. I feel like I work for Oldways, Trolley Cart, because of the fact that I tell everybody, if you need a kitchen at a school, a library, community center, farm, et cetera, this thing runs on gray water. Like, you can do full scale lessons beginning to end and in a garden, in a farm setting, and it works great.
Yeah, we have some time now, so we can do a little bit of discussion either about the partnership, about our organizations, about the recipe, or any of the other recipes. I can also happy to sort of share the screen with some of the sort of the full PDF if people want to take a look at it. But what are people interested in discussing or getting their questions answered about here? And feel free to come off mute. You can put it in the chat, or it's always nice to see people's faces and hear their voices.
Have you ever put tomatoes in that recipe?
I have done a version of this with tomatoes, with cucumbers, green
Cucumbers.
peppers, and red bell peppers, yellow peppers, just whatever feels good. I have started with the Charlie Card curriculum and Always both have really good baseline recipes, I think. And so in my classes, I always have like a little table corner somewhere with other ingredients and things, and that, as the spirit moves, people can go over there and say, hey, I think I want to try this. That does get the conversation going.
So how do you obtain a recipe curriculum?
From this partnership, if you are part of the Charlie Cart network, then on our website, which is charliecart.org, you can log in. There's a little spot on the top that says login, and it says member resources, and you can click right there. And once it's very easy to create an account. You can email me. I'll share my contact information. If you have any trouble, we'll get you in there. And then from there are 2 PDFs that have 6 lessons and recipes each, but also a full introduction section that gives a ton of background on Latin American heritage diets and African diaspora cuisine and diets. So you can download the full PDFs, or if you're in that same spot on the website, you can also click, once you're in there, you'll see a button that says digital curriculum. And all of these lessons are incorporated into our digital curriculum, and you can search by Oldways and they'll all just pop up. There's a little button where you can see them there. Or if you have any trouble at all, you can email me and I can send them to you via PDF, but they live on our website in that member resources section.
Yes.
Thank you.
Yeah, we also have someone in the chat here who asks, any tips for working with picky, scared eaters who say things like, I don't like vegetables?
Yes. Honestly, it is all about engaging with the student and saying, not everybody likes everything, right? And I do a thing where I sometimes will ask them to give me something, like you come up with an idea of a snack that you think I will like. That was the craziest class series ever because the kids gave me things like chocolate and tuna and mustard and marshmallows. And I didn't like any of it, but I tried it. And so it becomes that bartering system where now, okay, I tried something, it wasn't great, but in the spirit of new experiences, I'd like you to taste this. You don't have to like it. You don't even have to have a full spoonful, forkful, whatever. But I think it's important that we actually try new things. Not every student will, but it's just about being lighthearted and not taking it personally if a child doesn't do that, if they don't want to. I think that's the biggest thing. There are lots of reasons why people don't like to eat things. They may not like the color, the smell, the look, the feel, the texture, any of those things, the thought of the texture. I work with a lot of different types of learners. So that means that some of them, they eat nothing yellow. And that just happens to be the one day we have yellow stuff to eat. So you really just, don't take it personally, but keep on trying, keep on encouraging, and just say, all right, well, we'll enjoy it without you. It's fine.
Hi, also, this is Rhonda with Boys and Girls Club St. Lucie County. We actually have about 5 Charlie carts in our organization. One of the things that we do is we definitely do spoon size. Try a spoon size bite. And then at the end of the lesson, we have the kids vote. How did you like that? We poll it. And then what were some things that we could add, or what are some things that we could do differently with this recipe? And they really enjoy that portion of it.
Yes, I always ask them if they don't like it, if they do. Again, in the case of this, most of the recipes that we are making in these class series are plant-based. And, a lot of them will say, this would be even better with some chicken on it, stuff like that. So giving them that space to actually have that conversation is good. Anybody else?
Hello. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Awesome. This was so great, and I'm so excited to just learn about both of these organizations. I currently teach children in my local community where I do have access to a kitchen, but I am going to teach at a Salvation Army program where they don't have a kitchen, and also at our local library where they don't have a kitchen. And I know a little bit about Oldways, and I'm learning more about Charlie Cart. How does one, and I don't know if this is an appropriate question for right now, but how would somebody participate in getting a Charlie Cart for their community?
Yeah, thank you for that question. I think Siobhan had put our website in the chat, charliecart.org, and you can just go right there and you'll see there's lots of resources where you can learn more about the organization and contact us, or you can reach out, and I'll put this in the chat, just to info@charliecart.org, and that'll send you to Michelle, who's one of our team members who's here on the call, and she can help answer any questions you have specifically about those different, getting a Charlie cart into those different spaces and what that looks like.
Awesome. Okay. Thank you so much. This was great.
Yeah, thanks for being here.
Anyone else?
Has anyone, we've had the Oldways and Charlie cart recipes available for a little bit now before we did this webinar, and I'm wondering if anyone has tried any of them yet or seen them or used them with any of their kids. I'm not sure if folks had peeked into them yet or not, or if this is your first exposure.
Oh, hi, this is Tasha from also St. Lucie County, Boys and Girls Club of St. Lucie County in Florida. Just like Rhonda said, we do have approximately 5 or 6 Charlie carts here. This is the first time that I've heard of Oldways, and I did wanted to ask, were the recipes available? Would they have already answered that question? Are they originally part of the Charlie cart, or this is something that just recently happened?
These ones are new to Charlie cart. So the recipes that we selected for this what we're calling a curriculum supplement. So you all got, your Charlie Cart curriculum with your carts, and this is sort of like an add-on to that curriculum. So these were just finalized and launched about a month ago. But the recipes themselves were adapted from the Oldways curriculum. So Oldways has their own Taste of Latin American Heritage and Taste of African Heritage curriculum, and they have those curriculum are much longer, and they have many more recipes in them as well. So I encourage everyone to explore those. But we selected recipes from those curriculum for the Charlie Cart audience, knowing that we'll be usually working with younger learners, or to Liesha's point earlier, with sort of minimal ingredients or things that could easily be done in the cart setting. So they're not new recipes, but they're new to Charlie Cart in terms of this partnership. So again, we do have them in PDF form that we can email to you directly. And if you want them physically, you can print them out, or they're on our website. And I don't know, Sarah, if you want to add anything to that about sort of the history of that.
Yeah, sure. To add to that, what's really nice about the recipes within this partnership is that they're catered specifically for the Charlie cart. So even for instance, with the black-eyed pea salad here, Liesha, Chef Liesha was able to prepare everything with the Charlie cart, but we also have a variation of the black-eyed pea salad through the Oldways website that may be more conducive for those with a full-on kitchen setup that have all the you know, resources at their reach. So I think that's what makes this partnership is unique, is that these recipes were specifically not only chosen from Charlie Cart Project, but they're also catered to focus on to be used and adapted with the Charlie Cart, which is nice. And so you've got that whole accessibility in mind. And there was another point that someone had asked about the um, children's recipes. And what I like about this partnership too is within the Latin American heritage piece, there is a mint and pineapple salad. Therefore, if there are kids who don't like vegetables, that's a good way to introduce them in. We could start with the mint and pineapple salad from the Latin heritage curriculum, and also within the African heritage, there's the Kenyan mashed potatoes, and it cracks me up every time how many kids and nieces and nephews that I have that don't even realize that mashed potatoes are a vegetable. So that's a really good way to introduce them and get them started into trying some new things. You could whip up those mashed potatoes and give them a spoonful, and then start slowly introducing some of the other dishes. But I loved your idea, Laisha, about just having them give you ideas for things to try. That I bet they have a lot of fun with that.
Too much fun.
You are brave.
Great segue into the curriculum. So if you wanted to, let's say it's the beginning of the season, the school year, what have you, when you're just launching your classes, to start with, how like we start with icebreakers and meetings. Let this be like a 2 or 3 week icebreaker week where you're getting to know each other and you're building that trust and relationship with your students to be able to say, okay, now that we've done that, let's get to the meat and potatoes. Everybody doesn't have that ability. It depends on the type of program you have. The last program I worked for, I had different set of kids every single time because it was a field trip program. So there is this other thing that you have to develop as the teacher, where you kind of figure out the kids and tap into their curiosity at the very beginning. And always their website is loaded with recipes, by the way. I don't know if you guys picked that up earlier, but there are like hundreds of recipes on there. And they're all really fun and great. And, you do need, more equipment. But if you are in a space where you are teaching adults and children, so on and so forth, it's very complimentary.
Yeah, we do have a slide with some resources on it that I'll put up in just a second, but maybe I'll leave space for one more question while we're all here together. Anyone else have a question they want to ask?
It's a quiet group.
Oh, someone raised their hand, but I'm not sure who because I'm not great at Zoom. Yes, thanks everyone. And we had a quick question from the chat just saying, this was lovely. Will you have more webinars featuring Oldways? I missed the first 15 minutes. We don't have any planned, but Sarah and I'll chat and maybe we can do a couple other recipes throughout the year. I do want to just quickly share sort of this last slide here. I guess I'll just leave it as you can see it here, which has our website. It has the Oldways website and it has the specific websites for the Latin American Heritage Diet and the African Heritage Diet. And again, you can scan here to access some of those resources. And I know some of you probably have to go, so thank you all for joining us very much. We really appreciate it. If anyone else wants to stick around for a few minutes and ask any other questions or chat, we're going to hang on the line for a little longer. But thanks to everyone for joining us. We will send some resources out by email after the call, and we hope you all have a great weekend.